Right now, the 49ers have won 9 straight games, and everyone's talking about Brock Purdy and the offense. But there's a major issue on the defensive side of the ball. Throughout the majority of the season, San Francisco 49ers defense has been ranked number 1 overall. And this defense is a major reason why the 49ers are where they currently are. But before we jump into what's wrong with the defense, let's just jump in how the season's played out for the defense, the key losses, and who's starting everywhere. And you really can't talk about the San Francisco 49ers defense without talking about their defensive line. And the big reason the 49ers were able to land so many talented members of their defensive line is because of Chris Kasarik. Because they know once they go over there, they're going to be coached by one of the greatest defensive line coaches ever. And their numbers are bound to excel, especially when you have so much talent around you. You have Eric Armstead, and he was a first-round draft pick. You have Javon Kinlaw now, and he's back from an injury, and he was a first-round draft pick. And then you have Bosa, you have the rookie from this year, Drake Jackson, and they picked him with their first pick. So the 49ers obviously have a philosophy when it comes to the defensive side of the ball. And that philosophy is build up the defensive line, build up the front 7, even the linebackers are incredible, and get after the quarterback so they can't push the ball down the field, which is what made what the defense did earlier this year so much more impressive. They lost to Eric Armstead and Javon Kinlaw, which was really the foundational pieces inside of their defensive line, but a lot of the guys behind them could probably start for a lot of teams in the NFL. For instance, there's Jordan Willis, and he's absolutely a freak of nature. He has such speed and size. I think he's really underrated. There's also T.Y. McGill, there's Hassan Ridgeway, there's Charles Omenihu, there's Drake Jackson. The list is endless, it feels like, for the 49ers defensive linemen. And they're all so talented. And I guess it goes to credit to Shanahan, but really Chris Kasarik for coaching these guys up, who's starting everywhere. And to round out that front 7, there's Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw, and Azeez Al-Shaair as the linebackers, and those guys are incredible. In the secondary, it started out so strong with Emmanuel Moseley playing at corner, and the hope was that Jimmy Ward would play at safety, but plans changed a little bit. So what happened later is that Tashawn Gibson took Jimmy Ward's spot due to injury, but Jimmy Ward was able to slide down to nickelback, effectively taking Samuel Womack's spot. And because Emmanuel Moseley got injured, that number 38, Lenore, was playing opposite of Charvarius Ward. Okay, and this is the crazy part, because at the beginning of the season, these guys were playing lights out, and even against Miami, it looked like, if you just read the stats, they were playing lights out still. But some deficiencies were starting to creep in. The front 7 for the 49ers is still great, but in the secondary, I'm not so sure. Specifically, I'm not sure about Talanoa Hufanga and Lenore. I understand Hufanga was selected to the Pro Bowl, but to me, he just doesn't feel reliable. He's giving up, or it seems like he's giving up, a lot of touchdown passes because he's biting underneath on the short stuff. And I think a reason why he could be biting is that earlier in the year, the front line could get to quarterbacks extremely quickly, and they still do, but when the offensive line is able to hold up or they pull another man into protection, that gives the quarterback a little bit more time, allows the routes to develop, and then it gets on top of Hufanga, and that's when he gets cooked. And then you see Hufanga trying to chase after this guy, and there's no way he's going to catch him because Hufanga fell in the draft for a reason. He's physically limited, but Hufanga doesn't concern me nearly as much as Lenore concerns me. Lenore has been cooked so much recently, Charcoal's getting envious. And this production has been on the field ever since maybe the Miami game. It felt like Tua was missing so many throws deep. Brady missed some, but the Raiders didn't miss them, and they showed the rest of the league a blueprint of how you can dismantle one of the greatest defenses the league has to offer. And Lenore is a major liability, especially in the playoffs when the 49ers could face the likes of Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. These guys definitely will notice on the film that Lenore is a liability as well. And they're going to target him and target him hard. But on my channel, we don't just have issues, we have solutions. So my solution for this one is, so the first player I'm going to move positions is I'm pushing Jimmy Ward to the outside. And I know a lot of people are going to question this move, but that's what I feel better about. I know the coaches apparently don't like Ambry Thomas over Lenore, so that tells me something about Ambry Thomas right there. So if I go ahead and slide Ward outside, we now have a decent corner. And in the nickel back spot, I'm going to put Samuel Womack there. I know Lenore could go there as well. We could just flip the two, but I don't really like Lenore in coverage, and he's a liability. And my solution to Hufanga is get in his ears and tell him, hey, you don't need to do too much. You don't need to be big play Huff. You don't need to do anything like that. You don't need to take away the ball. Just stay back, read the play. I know that kind of takes away a little bit of his natural instinct, but you also don't want to be giving up these huge touchdown passes against the likes of Rodgers and Brady and Mahomes and Allen. Now that I gave you my thoughts on the 49ers, I'd like to hear your thoughts down below. And please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. It helps out a ton, and I really appreciate everyone that watches my videos. Thank you guys.